And welcome to another edition of East LA Sports Scene, our in-studio edition, and we are back. We don't leave for too long from the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center, which is our home for our in-studio production, and we're back. We've been very busy here on East LA Sports Scene, bringing you different kinds of programming, which I'm sure you've enjoyed as you've watched throughout the summer. But now, as they say, it's time to get back to school. School is open for the new 2018 year. And speaking of school itself, there comes sports right hand in hand with school. Academics and sports. And here we go. And now we're going to start this fall season off here. A little early. We're still in summer, but very soon, in a couple of weeks, we're in fall and ready for the official school year to start, along with all of the activities that go with it. So for our first guest for the 2018 19 school year, it's going to be a very, very good friend of ours here at East LA Sports Scene. No stranger to East LA in person, because he has had quite a bit of his career spent in East LA at Garfield High School. But now, for the past 13, 14 years, John Aguirre, have the bilingualism to pronounce his name, of course, but we respectfully always refer to John as John Aguirre here in our studio, the commissioner of the LA City Schools with its sports program. And John, it's good to see you again.
Rico, always a pleasure. Really, thank you for inviting me, and love talking sports with you.
Thank you so much, John, because you are so critical and pivotal and well respected around the school district, and you have a tremendous job that you have done very well all these years, and you're going to begin what we understand now is your final year as the commissioner of the LA City School System.
Yeah, that comes with sweet memories and unsure future, but I'm looking forward to it. You always got to be ready for those changes in life.
Yes. And John, you've come to us the last 2 years in a row and explaining things as they unfold and what to expect for the many parents who have children participating in all kinds of sports programs under the LA City section. And of course, you have to monitor that and conduct business in order to keep things in order and to keep things progressing. Your thoughts on, let's go, John, with, let's say, last year, because we want to divide our program into last year's goals, this year's goals, and then a look at your future, what you're going to be doing.
That'd be good.
Let's, if we can, John, start with the 27-18 goals. And wow, what a tremendous opener you did with the cheer program.
We were pretty aggressive in setting some goals, big goals for last year, and thankfully we accomplished all of them. Some a little better than others, but we accomplished, and the cheer was a big one. We wanted to launch that program. We had 64 high schools participate in our cheer programs. We offered league competition, we offered regional competition, and we offered a city championship, of which we had 4 divisions for the girls to participate in, girls and boys. We had a group of coaches that came forward a couple of years prior to start coordinating, just a really, how should I say, collaborative effort. Michelle Galarza from Southeast High School was the coordinator for the sport and sort of managed that whole effort, and working with that advisory group, and also working with Cheer USA, varsity cheer, to get some guidance in how to manage our playoffs and our city championships and the judging and the scoring and all the various things that have to be done. Absolutely. So tremendous job by everybody, though.
Yes, and the feedback, I'm sure you monitored it very well, and it's another goal. This is now a competitive sport in the LA City section.
It is, and we plan to continue. We plan to advance it. From the untrained eye as mine for cheer competition, I thought it was great.
Yes.
For those that are in the know, there's some modifications that need to take place in discussion on concerns that occurred last year, and we'll work through those things and make the modifications or revisions and move forward and make it better.
Okay, and we were able to cover several of the regional tournaments. It was very exciting for us here in our community to bring that. Roosevelt, Garfield, Torres, Mendez, a lot of schools well represented here in the east side.
Anybody, why it took so long, I have no idea, but anybody that says that cheer is not a sport needs to go watch it.
Absolutely.
A lot of athleticism going on there.
And Coach, I'm calling you Coach again out of deference because I first met John Aguirre as a coach, head coach of Garfield High School. But Commissioner Aguirre, continuing down with some of the other goals that you set for yourself and accomplished. You increased the principal's involvement in athletics.
You know, we made a distinct effort to contact a lot of principals. Every time I was on a high school campus, and I go out to high school campuses at least 3, 4, 5 times a week, I'm meeting with the principal, discussing athletics and the importance, and more importantly, the importance of them being involved with decision making and knowing what's going on.
Yes.
We need the principal's oversight. They're the leader at the school, and they're the ones that need to oversee the whole program to make sure that it's functioning correctly.
Very well, very good. Initiate a student scholarship program.
Yes,
that was very
that was
important.
a big one. Yes,
And one of your big goals.
we gave out 9 scholarships last year in various categories. We offered a student academic scholar of the year for both a female and a male. Each received $2,500.
Very good.
And then we had sportsmanship awards through the year for every season of sport, 2 offered for each. And then we had a golf student receive a scholarship as well.
Oh, okay.
So we managed through that. We hope to continue that this year. We have some additional offers for scholarship funds, and we're always available to receive scholarship funds for anybody watching this that may wish to donate funds for scholarships for student athletes.
And we'll talk about that towards the end of the program, Coach, because you are a nonprofit organization.
We are.
And it's very, very easy to donate or contribute.
Right.
And on your website, we can always refer to that as well. But we'll talk about more at
Perfect.
the end of the program. Number 4, initiate the number of individual academic awards. So that was very powerful.
We started working with a lot of various groups. One of them was the Rams, who initiated a football athletic scholarship award. I believe it was San Fernando High School won their football academic award as the highest GPA in the entire section for the football team. But we did it for every sport and recognized them at our end of the year banquet.
And again, when we say every sport, there's a multitude of sports. So it's
We
very,
have
very
16
good.
sports that we offer, and within each sport there's various divisions. So with 155 schools now, things are continually moving and growing.
Oh, and growing for the better, we must add. Number 5, continue to emphasize the reduction of player ejections. That must have been
Yes.
very difficult to achieve,
It-
but you attempted.
You know, I've been tracking ejections for the last 4 years, and every year we've had a reduction in the number of total ejections on the year for all sports. And every year, 90% of our sports are reducing their numbers. The only 2 sports this past year that increased in numbers from the previous year was football and basketball.
Okay.
However, over the last 4 years, they've reduced. So we're
Yes.
in a positive trend of reducing the number, but we want to continue that. 4 years ago, we had 308 ejections on
Wow.
the year.
Okay.
And the sport of soccer had 200 by itself.
My goodness.
This past year, we had 179 total, and the sport of soccer had 95.
Okay.
We're hoping to cut those numbers in half again. And one of the ways we plan on doing it is a goal for this coming year, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Very good. Number 6, increase community relations involvement.
And this is a part of doing that, you know,
Yes.
coming to your show, speaking with you, speaking with people like Eric Sonheimer and a couple of the other media
Yes.
that will come to my office and sit down and talk about sports and or do their blog or their
Yes,
tweets and all
yes.
that type of thing. So we want to stay engaged with the community. We want the community to understand not only our rules and regulations, but what we're offering
Yes.
and how athletics can really open the door to successes academically for the students that participate, increasing daily attendance, increasing GPAs, and increasing graduation rates,
Yes.
putting that mentor in your life that's going to care about, you know, showing you the right direction to go and correcting you when you're wrong. So those are the things we're working on.
And I'm sure your community outreach program will continue to grow, and even after your successor will come, hopefully they will adopt the best patterns and practices that you've set up for them.
It has to continue. The the CIF is all about creating opportunities for students to participate in sports and growing that, whether it's through offering more sports, more divisions, or just getting more kids involved at every school. And the more we do that, the more parents we're going to engage with, and parents need to understand, the standards that are set to participate, the eligibility rules, the participation rules, what it takes in terms of playing in the game, informing the coaches of how to engage with the parents and all the particulars and standards that they have set for the kids, so that the parents are involved as well. So
absolutely. Number 7, increase the number of athletic directors working on certification through the NIAA.
Yes.
Very, very interesting. We asked about that last year when you brought that up. We didn't know.
Right.
But now you've had a year to gestate it or look at it and see how it's gone.
Well, we've been pushing it. In the past, we've had only a handful of athletic directors within our section that have been certified athletic directors. And there's various levels of certification, all the way up to a master certified athletic director who is highly skilled in what they do.
Yes.
So we wanted to provide for our athletic directors the opportunity to take these courses that are offered by the NIAAA free of charge as a member of our section.
Nice.
And we did an athletic director symposium where we started with 2 courses that we offered, and we had almost 50 athletic directors participate.
Good.
So that's 50 more than we had before, and we're going to continue to provide those opportunities to them. That was the main push. The second thing they do is the NIAAA offers a conference annually.
Oh, okay.
And so we're promoting that conference, hoping to have some type of competition where we can pay for one of our athletic directors to attend. But we really encourage them to start being involved in the professional development of their selected field.
And the NIAAA, I do believe the N stands for national.
National.
Because it is encompassing the entire country.
Yes.
And would it be a National Institute or?
National Association.
Okay, very good. NIAAA. Number 8, completion of league handbooks and policy handbooks. Very, very important because you stress the fact that without the guidelines, without the materials to study, learn from, and become very familiar with, you can't translate that into effective action. And it's good to see that those books are available.
What that's doing is allowing the league members within each league to collaborate on the design of their league. Okay, what's the requirement for our schools in participation? How do we handle these issues, whatever it might be? What does the scheduling look like from year to year? And how do we rotate that? What is the fee for attending a football game?
Sure.
Is it standardized from school to school? Who gets in free? Do we have a list, or do we have passes? How do we do this? So they want to address all the issues that come up within the league and have it written down. And again, there's other behavior standards that they have to address as well of participation.
Sure.
And when players step beyond the boundaries, how do we deal with that?
Yeah.
So every league has a league commissioner.
Okay.
The league commissioner is employed by the section, and they're responsible for leading these sessions to design these handbooks. Every league has completed that last year.
Wonderful.
As of June, I've received them all, and we're going to continue to revise and correct anything that we need to do with it.
And again, your job as a commissioner is to oversight
Yes.
every activity,
Every activity
that is
every
under
league,
your direction.
Right. And to make sure they have the resources and understanding. Sometimes it's a matter of putting some requirements there. Other times it's a matter of giving direction and letting them take it and run.
Yes, yes. Number 9, and this was a very, very popular one for you last year when you spoke about it, increasing the efforts to go green.
Yes. We're trying to move things toward our website, everything electronic, digital, so that we're not continually knocking down trees to pass out all this information to our schools. And I think we've done a good job. One of the things we're working on right now is to create video vignettes of rules and regulations, so that they can click on our website and They want to learn about transfer rules. There it is.
Oh,
They want to
wonderful.
learn about eligibility rules. There it is.
Okay.
They want to learn about how you manage a contest. It should be there.
Okay.
So the more we're able to provide the various rules and regulations in video form, I
Mhm.
think the easier it's going to be for the athletic directors and the coaches to get the information to them.
And I know that's a very difficult job to do all of the media around, so that surrounds that, and that encompasses an effort to do that. But once it is on solid ground, might it go multilingual to match the number of languages within the district?
And that's something we've talked about, and we're going to start with English,
Mhm.
and then we can move forward from there, because it's fairly easy actually to
Oh,
change the
okay.
language on the
Okay.
video.
Oh,
So
okay.
just have somebody over.
Do the
Dub
over,
over, right.
okay, right. Okay, and the last one, to offer the broadcast and webcast options to all schools.
Yes, and we've done that. We just signed an agreement for the section with the NFHS network. It's
Oh,
a
good.
national organization of high school athletics that started their own network. I think today they have 45 states that are involved in this
Okay.
network.
Mhm.
And so we were the last section in California to join it.
Okay.
The state, because they have a contract with Time Warner Spectrum,
Yes, they do. Yeah.
so they're not part of it for the state playoffs and championships, but every other section in their playoff and championships at the section level is part of the NFHS network. And so
Okay.
we're tied to that for our playoffs and our championships.
Okay.
And what we've done is now allowed the schools to negotiate their own agreements for their non-league and their league games.
Yes.
So during the regular season, the host school has the rights to the game being played at their schools.
Yes.
And they can negotiate with anybody they wish.
And we want to again thank you for allowing us to be part of the webcast crews that go out to the schools in their communities. And we've been very, very glad to be back, as we used to do in the past with our game, the high school game of the week. And last year was a full season that we were able to do so. And we want to thank you for being the supporter that you have always been with us. We did understand the Time Warner situation. That's gone now, but we are now into our second year, and we're planning our first high school game of the week just in a few days, as we will visit Garfield as they take on Montebello to start the new season 2018. So we're beneficiaries, and we're very thankful, John.
Well, we learned a lot from that Time Warner contract, and a lot of things what not to do. And when you give exclusivity for an entire year of every school, it really minimizes the school's control of what they can do.
Yeah.
And we're trying to drive the profits to the school so that they have a way to monetize what they're doing.
Sure.
And I think this is the direction to go to accomplish that.
Okay. Well, there we have the review of last year's top 10 goals for the season for 2017 and 18, right here, directly reviewed and approved by the Commissioner, John Aguirre. So we're going to take a quick break and come right back as we continue with this year's a whole new set of rules, and we're going to bring them to you up close and personal right here from John Aguirre. Don't go away. This is East LA Sports Scene. And here we are. We're back again in studio here from the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center located in Boyle Heights. And we're back with our in-studio programming. Been gone for a bit, but now we're back as things are now unfolding for 2018 and 2019 school year. And, of course, that means sports in our community from East LA Sports Scene. But we always take time to bring in our leaders and our educators, mentors that have much to do with the way that sports is played in our LA City section schools. And speaking to none other than the Commissioner himself, John Aguirre from the LA City section. And John, welcome back again. I got to say that to you very wholeheartedly, because at the top of the show, if you didn't hear us, I know that you'll be starting your final year as Commissioner, and we're going to miss you. Got to say that right up front, but
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
We've had a great time to work with you as a coach and always as a commissioner. So
Well, it's been a great career. I got nothing to feel bad about. I had some tremendous opportunities all the way through. Some doors open for me. There were some very kind people that gave me opportunity to step in and do some things that I enjoyed at Garfield, at Bishop Lamont, at Carson High School. and with the district office, and now at the CIF
Yes.
city section. So nothing to complain about or feel bad about, but totally looking forward to, what it's like to retire and
Yes,
have some time
yes.
for myself and my family.
And you have earned that, as they would say, for the entire career that you put in. I want to say nearly, 30, maybe 35 years? I don't want to give away the exact
yes.
number, but it's a multi-year career that John has had with the city section, LA Unified.
This is my 40th year involved in high school athletics. I was 13 years with the section office. I coached for 27 years.
Yes.
And, a great career. I had the probably greatest job ever, and I tell that to the coaches all the time.
Wonderful to hear. Okay, John, continuing now with this year now, I wanted to get that re-welcoming position with you here so we can, those that just started watching, you can know the flow that we're in now, because you're very, very excited about this year, even though, as we mentioned, it's your final year as the commissioner, because you have work to do and you set yourself more goals. And let's start off, John, with established school site participation behavior. That's going to be number one for you.
That's number one. And it ties into the reduction of ejections at contest. What we're asking schools in every school to do is to design a school policy that establishes participation behavior expectations and standards that will be enforced in practice, in games, when they're traveling, when they're those ambassadors at the other school, when they're at school events, so that the students, the players, understand their boundaries.
Yes.
And what happens when they step beyond the boundaries. And now each school will have the opportunity to set those boundaries, set that standard, and be able to enforce it as they choose the enforcement. So it's not going to come from Mr. Commissioner. The hope is that they stay within these boundaries while they're playing. They understand that I can't be on the field and be yelling whatever I need to yell at the opponent, the official, or the other coach. Otherwise, I won't be on the field.
Sure.
So I think it's going to allow the students to have better judgment, make better decisions based on the information that they now have of what is acceptable. And
at the conclusion of their finding of how they want to implement, will they then bring it to your attention and have, conclave or maybe a conference with you?
Well,
for
it all
final
depends.
approvals?
It all depends on the issues that are occurring. But the actual policy, yes, every league will be monitoring that every school has this policy in place and be aware of what their policies are so that they can see enforcement. But again, the thought is before they receive that ejection, they've already experienced it in practice, in school, and at different events that they've participated in. And so now when they get to that athletic event, they're making the proper judgment and decisions to avoid those ejections.
Okay.
And I just think you have to educate people before you can ask them to do something.
Yes.
So this is a process of educating them so that they can have better judgment and decision making.
Okay, and then might that be put into, say, their policy handbook
Yes.
at some point where
It'll be at the school.
the parents can read it or
and
see it?
there will be
at
an
some point?
athletic policy handbook at the school site so that it can be distributed to the parents. And the design of it is not going to come necessarily from the administration or the coaches. It's going to involve the players as well.
Oh.
So you'll have players, you'll have coaches, you'll have administrators all working on the design at that school level. What's important to us? How should we handle these issues?
Yes.
And how should we be behaving, whether
Okay.
it's in practice, in the locker room, or whatever?
Basically similar to a code of conduct.
Similar.
Yeah, similar, but-
One of the problems right now, we require every student and parent to sign a code of conduct. The problem is they get this at the start of the year. They sign it. I don't know if they read it or didn't read it,
Sure.
but they never see it again.
Oh.
And there is no reinforcement from the coach.
Ah.
What this document's going to do is require, not only is it made for the player, it's also made for the coach. So if
Okay.
he's out of line, he would have a disciplinary action taken by his administration as well.
Okay.
So I think there's more teeth to it, but there's also more buy-in because they created it themselves, and now you're requiring the coach to enforce this continually.
Okay. Wow.
A lot.
A lot. But it seems that it's very, very achievable.
I think so.
Yes,
I really
by
do.
the hard work
You
that will
know,
be put into
sometimes
it.
you got to think outside the box in terms of what we're doing and how we're doing it. But when you see statistics of ejections in the 300 and 400 range, something has to be done.
Yes.
And so we're thinking outside the box.
And I want to just clarify that first goal. I almost misread it. I just didn't add the last three words. Establish school site participation behavior, expectations, and standards. So that's basically what we were also talking about in terms of the
Yes.
your expectations for this new school year and the standards that have been duly noted and set forth by all that are involved.
That is true. That
Okay.
is true.
Now, number two, commissioners hiring timeline and seamless transition.
Yeah, that's something I truly believe if you're a leader, one of your jobs and goals is to prepare those that are going to follow. It's not just about you getting up there and dictating to everybody, but it's giving people the authority and ability to do their job and grow within their job, giving them the resources to continue their growth and learning in what they're doing, so they can have professional development as we go through, and involving them in a lot of the decision making of what's going on, so that whenever and for whatever reason somebody is moved away from their job, there's somebody else to take over. So I happen to be retiring,
Yes.
and I think if I've done my job correctly, there is going to be somebody to step in and fulfill what I'm doing currently. I think I have a tremendous staff.
Yes.
I mean, there's only 5 full-time workers there, but each one of them is 1,000%er.
Yeah.
And we're called on at any hours of the day, and depending on the time of the year, we're working not only Monday through Friday, but Saturdays and Sundays.
Yes, imagine.
So,
imagine, yes.
and everybody's 100%. You have to love athletics, number one. Number two, you have to love what you're doing.
Yes.
And I think everybody in our office meets that.
And just the basic timelines themselves, John, will be from the start of the school year to the conclusion for 2019. And then at that time, would the interviews be starting or the applications starting to be accepted?
to make a seamless transition, everything has to start a lot sooner.
Okay.
So announcements have to go out maybe January or December, January, and then the selection process of who they're going to interview, and then the actual interviews probably March, April, and then the selection of those interviews, or whether they're going to do a second interview. And then the actual selection of the commissioner. And then it's a decision of, will that commissioner require support from me for a period of time so that they can transition in, or is it somebody that already has that understanding that might not need that?
Okay.
And then that will dictate when they actually start.
Yes.
So.
And that, of course, ties in your seamless transition. So then for the start of the 2019 season, everything should be in place.
It's passed on.
Okay.
The torch is passed.
All right. Now, number 3, very, very important, renegotiation of the officials' fee agreement from 2019 to 2022.
Yes. It's always a 3-year agreement.
Okay.
We did it 3 years ago, and we're in the last year of that agreement. And we meet with the official associations for every sport. We get some input from them of what they would like to see. And then our board of managers and our finance committee and our officials committee get together and make some decisions in terms of what's appropriate. What can our schools afford? Where the budget's at with school districts and that type of thing, because it does get rather expensive as we move through the year in the various sports and number of games and a number of officials who are working for you.
And those can be single game officials up to multiple 3 to 4 possibly, depending on the type of contest that it is.
You take a high school like Narbonne High School, they have 3 levels of football. That's 3 sets of officials working every week. And sometimes they'll ask for 7 officials for the varsity game to make it, they're playing at a pretty high level and to make it safe as possible. So it all depends on the school and, you know, how many programs they have and how many sports they're offering, those type of things. But everybody's affected by this because budget at schools is very tight.
And this agreement, I would say, is comes out amicably, where both sides are in agreement, because you can't really delay the officials from starting their work to complete the school season.
Well, the final decision's made by our board of managers.
Okay.
But we have taken the input from those organizations, and it is considered. In some cases, we come very close, or maybe even meet it. In other cases, maybe not.
Okay.
It all depends on the sport, and we look at a lot of issues in terms of what's fair, and where are we at today, and where should we be next year.
Okay. Wonderful. So it's a 3-year agreement, which is very good. It gives both sides, or both parties or entities, to really savor the situation within that agreement, to see how it's going as well.
And it's not an easy process, because there's vast differences between officiating a wrestling meet versus a wrestling tournament versus a basketball game or a water polo game.
True.
And so we have to sort of analyze, time commitment and expertise and various issues that come into play.
Just another part of the commissioner's oversights that he has to really take care of. Number 4, John, develop character and multi-sport athlete awards per sport.
We're analyzing what are we emphasizing and what do we want to emphasize, and character is a big piece of it. So we definitely want to reward that. Positive reinforcement is better than negative reinforcement. So we want to acknowledge those who are really showing quality character while they're playing the game, who really understand how to control their emotions and behaviors and act appropriately, whether it's a coach or an athlete, whether it's a team or an individual. And so we're going to look for ways, and we're currently looking for ways to recognize those individuals that we want to recognize, as well as those schools and teams that we want to recognize. Multi-sport athletes is another thing I think is something that's taking a trend in the opposite direction of single sport athletes who are tied up with a particular sport for an entire year. Well, what we're finding is those athletes who are making it to the pro level in a lot of cases played multiple sports and reduced their injuries because they're using different muscle groups and different movements per sport. So they're not overstressing any particular part of their body based on playing one sport for an entire year. So we want to reward and acknowledge that this is probably a better way to go for a student to have more experiences and be able to find that sport that they truly are best in.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start to try and recognize multi-sport athletes and with awards for those students who are excelling as a multi-sport athlete.
Wow, very, very appropriate to acknowledge those student athletes. Number 5, continue the professional development opportunities for the athletic directors.
We started the push for athletic directors to become certified last year. You can't do that in 1 year, and we have we had about almost 50 athletic directors participate in our certification training. We hope to continue to make that number grow and continue to grow to hopefully get into the 90 to 95% range of all our athletic directors being certified. It will bring to the school a more safe environment with skilled, understanding professionals that know their jobs. Currently, that's not necessarily the case. If you don't have any background, if you don't have any particular knowledge of what you're doing and what the liabilities, what the legal aspects are, what the policies, procedures should be for every sport, and how to manage a comprehensive program, then it's the blind leading the blind. So we want to give them some eyes so they can see where they're going. And
it seems have been taken under very, very good attention from you and your staff, because you almost want to think of a 5-year plan for this to happen, because it's so vast. The city section is huge. And it just can't be done, as they say, in 1 year, 2 years, more or less like a 5-year plan.
It's pretty much within our strategic plan, which is a 5-year plan, and we hope to reach that within a 5-year period. And as I say, we started last year, so we got a little ways to go, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
Absolutely, absolutely. Number 6, continue to reduce the player. Well, we talked about that earlier,
Yes.
Coach.
It's tied to the
Commissioner.
behavior.
Yes, and that ties into number one. But the final one here for you will be the Hall of Fame committee for the selection of Hall of Fame nominations and coordinate the Hall of Fame event itself.
Well, we've
That's
been
huge.
doing a Hall of Fame for, I think this is our 6th class that we're working on this time.
Mhm.
It's every other year. We have a tremendous number of former athletes through the history of the LA City section, which, by the way,
Oh.
began in 1936.
Yes.
And we've selected numerous athletes every other year. So this is the year that we have another class coming in.
Okay.
We have the committee selected. They've had a couple of meetings already. They're discussing the nominations.
Mhm.
I believe that's to be set by November.
Okay.
And with information going out, the actual award ceremony will occur in April.
Okay.
So it's an exciting time.
Mm.
It's probably the biggest
Mm.
event that we offer
Yes.
at any time of the year, and it's every other year.
And might I ask, Commissioner, is this an event here where your corporate sponsors, or sponsors of the LA City section, are very, very prominent in terms of supporting it?
In some cases, well, we do get sponsorship specifically for the Hall of Fame, but not necessarily all our corporate sponsors who are already our section sponsors.
Okay.
We have ball sponsors, we have general official sponsorships that provide revenue streams for us.
Mm-hmm.
For the Hall of Fame, it'd be a specific Hall of Fame sponsor.
Okay.
So we welcome anyone who wishes to participate in that. You know, there are some really big names that are involved in this Hall of Fame.
You can imagine.
And,
I was going to ask, was there a question of maybe several who are still prominently, alive and here with us, who are prominent and still continue to support LA City School section?
You know, it's amazing how excited they get when they receive the information. And obviously we have to do the background and find out, okay, who's still alive
Mhm,
and
mhm.
who has passed.
Yes.
And for those who have passed, how do we handle that presentation?
Yeah.
So it's well thought out, but we make sure there's some and there's different categories.
Yeah,
There's
can
former
imagine.
athletes,
Yes.
former coaches. There's section coaches, section athletic directors. So it's not only from a professional level or Olympic level, it's also within the school level.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
So, yeah.
That's great. Okay, there are the 2018-2019 section goals as enunciated and given by the commissioner himself, John Aguirre. And with that, we're going to take one more break here and come back for our final segment of our in-studio program here from the Boyle Heights Technology and Youth Center. This is East LA Sports Scene. We'll be back in a moment. And here we are now back for our final segment with the commissioner of the LA City section and CIF, as John Aguirre. And before we get into the final portion of our program, where we'll give the microphone completely to the commissioner for his final thoughts to our viewers here on East LA Sports Scene, we're going to ask him about the new program just unveiled. We find out from your media coordinator, Dick Dornan, who let us know that Channel 36 on cable here in
Yes.
Los Angeles will be offering a brand new slate of high school football games.
You know, they've everything's driven by budgets today, especially with the city of LA.
Mhm.
And apparently they found the money so that they had the resources to offer some games. And I understand that they have a new director,
Okay.
so they were able to put a priority on offering the game of the week. And
Yes.
so we're pretty excited about our communities being able to watch some of the games each week.
Yes. Very, very unique, novel idea where our community members, whether they're in East LA, Northeast LA, Valley, South, wherever they may be and have cable, they can see these games here. And I believe they open up just this Friday.
Yeah.
First game, it's going to come from the Valley with Canoga Park at Grant, and then it will wind its way through Windward at Animo Robinson, Contreras at Chavez. Wow, very interesting. Wilson at View Park, El Camino Real at Birmingham, Angelo at Jefferson, Locke at Dorsey, and then on the 26th, there's a number of games, and let's see if I can just give one of them at least here. We'll give, let's see, Torres at Franklin. And to see all the rest, go on to the website,
Right.
for the LA City
Go to
section?
our website, www.cif-la.org, and you'll find every game listed there. There's a scrolling max prep screen that identifies every game for each week.
And it's a,
In terms of the lineup for the game of the week, they did a great job of a variety of games in the area region. They also have an 8-man football game there.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's pretty exciting for those schools.
And John Aguirre, has been very exciting to have followed you for your career as a commissioner. And I'm going to say this with a very, very, just a true sense of my spirit with you, my connection to you, and my respect for you, that we want to wish you all the best. But after this year now, we got to keep you this year.
Right.
But, in terms of not having you again next year, we'll have your successor. But we've always been open for the last words to our guest, and to give you this moment in time here to give our viewers and those that happen to see this program, some of your friends and your families and your connections and your colleagues and cohorts around the the CIF state as well, that know you, a chance to give them and your family
first
parting words.
I got to thank you for all the years and time you spent. You've been a great blessing to the community and all you bring to them. So you're well appreciated and well respected by all.
Thank you.
I got to say that, one of my goals has always been to finish strong. And I intend to do that this last year, is finish strong. I have great people around me and a lot of good people. When you talk about parents and schools and some of the problems we deal with, it's such a small percent of who we deal with in terms of the ones that create issues for us to address. So 98% of our people are outstanding, doing a fabulous job providing safe environments, safe programs for all the children that they work with in all the various communities. And, my hat's off. It's been my pleasure, my honor, and a blessing to me to have worked with them and been in this position for the last 6 years. So, my goals moving forward, we plan on doing a little bit of traveling around. We hope to go to Europe to start off and hit some of the national parks as the years go by. I'm a big fan of national parks. So we're going to do that a little bit. We're building a home over in Sierra Vista. I'm not going to vacate LA, but I am going to have another place to go to relax.
And that might be in the great state of Arizona.
That will be in the state of Arizona. So it's on the east side of southeast corner of Arizona, and I'm looking forward to that whole project and that working out for us. I really think it's going to be a slower pace and something you want to do, in your later years. So that's number one. I have 2 sons. One of my sons I have 2 grandchildren. Obviously want to take advantage of them and spend a lot of time with them. They're love them. They're just been great for us over the last 5 years that they've been around. My younger son just graduated from ASU. But he's entering the military. So we'll be around to support him and what he's doing and serving our country.
Absolutely.
We're a military family, and all my brothers, myself, my sons have all served. I have actually my nephew is the Marine recruiter over in Huntington Park, and so we go back a long way. So it's not a surprise to me that my son wants to go into the military. Other than that, enjoying my wife, who's been, my, what do you say, soulmate for so many years, and will continue to be, and just looking forward to spending time together with her.
Well, John, it's going to be a wonderful retirement. I can envision that for you. I'm enjoying it myself, so I would be glad to welcome you into our ranks, of course. And who knows, might there just be an opportunity to have John Aguirre come back on our high school game of the week as a consultant or as an analyst. Those are some of my thoughts on prolonging you in the system with us in city schools and high schools, especially here in East LA,
Right.
where you'd be more than welcome to come in and reacquaint yourself with us. At the time, of course, you may be interested in doing that, but as long as you leave me a little opening there, John, I'll try to knock on your door or stay in touch with you to let you know if you might like it at the time when we make that approach to you. But we certainly would love to keep you with us
Right.
in some way,
Well,
shape, or form.
I thank you for that, but it's been 13 years since I've been on a sideline and coaching, so I'm not sure if I can coach, and not really sure if I know the ins and outs of that sport anymore. But I would love to be there to enjoy watching the game as I always do.
Okay, Viva, John Aguirre, we thank you.
Rico, thank you.
Always,
very much.
always,
Appreciate it.
always a pleasure, my
We'll keep in
friend
touch.
and my good brother. Good luck to you. And for that, now we want to say it's time to say goodbye here on this program. It's been very, very memorable one for us. Our final show in studio program with John Aguirre. We wish you well, and God bless you, John, for you and your family, for all that you have done and for all that you will do in your retirement. So on behalf of Eric Sarney doing all of the videography, and yours truly, Rico Cabrera, and our special guest, John Aguirre, we want to wish you a very, very good evening here from East LA Sports Scene. Continue to watch us at any time. Come online with us at eastlasportscene.com. And we would ask you now to check out our website. We're doing some sign-ups here for some free tickets offering to a lot of the professional sports teams here in the city of Angels in LA. So get in there, take a look, and we'll see you here on our next program. But continue to watch us on East LA Sports Scene. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Remember, get that workout in. You can do it. CIF weather. See you on our next program. Take care.